And in Master Duel, I made this special little deck, the Performapal Pendulums. This is the list. Feel free to copy it however you want. I'll be talking about my choices and honestly what can be improved. Performapals have never really been meta. I mean, there was Pepe, but that was more just like a pendulum deck. That wasn't really Performapals. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel actually added some very powerful cards that are Performapal. When they were initially released, I was like, okay, these aren't that good. And then I looked at them and I was like, wait a minute, we might got something here. Those cards being Performapal Gentrude, who is an amazing scale. When he's destroyed on the scale, he replaces himself. If he's in the extra deck, discard a card, add him back. And he has a pendulum effect where you can add a card from your deck to your hand. That absolutely amazing. I'm surprised he's not an ultra. Thankfully, he's not an ultra. Next up, we have Performapal Odd Eyes Butler. Kind of weird. I mean, he looks kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. He's pretty much, if he's in the graveyard, you can just destroy an Performapal Pendulum card. Or I think it's just a Performapal card in general, and then summon this dude. He has a weird pendulum effect, which you don't really use. You just use him as an extender. But I think the card that really pushed this deck over the top was a Ladyange. This card is absolutely gorgeous, beautiful. The effect is amazing. If it's in your hand, discard it and another Performapal monster, draw 2 cards. Pot of Greed? Kinda. It's good that you get cards in your graveyard too, because Performapals actually have a lot of cards that you can grab stuff out of your graveyard, special summon from your graveyard. And it's kind of weird to see a pendulum monster in the graveyard because they usually go to the extra deck, you know? But in this deck, it actually works out really well. As you can see, 0 traps. No, we're not running any traps. Also, no hand traps. We have 0 hand traps. 0. We don't need them. The only spell we're actually considering running here is Extra Pendulum. That's because this card is simply Pendulum Summon again. The only clause is you can only Pendulum Summon from your extra deck, but that doesn't matter. Our deck is mainly monsters, which means our opening hand is either going to be like either 1 Extra Pendulum or 1 Foolish Burial, and if you get unlucky, maybe 2 Extra Pendulums and just a bunch of monsters, which means you can easily Pendulum Summon. Easily. And I'm not kidding when I say that. Every single turn you're going to be able to Pendulum Summon. This deck's consistent, it's powerful, it's cool, it's cute. I mean, look at this little turtle. You're going to tell me this isn't cute? It's an amazing deck. Let's get into it. So we got 3 copies of Secondonkey. He's essentially Joker. When he's normal summoned or pendulum summoned, special summoned, you can send 1 Performapal from your deck to the graveyard, but if you have 2 scales, which is really easy in this deck, you just add it to your hand. This isn't once per turn. You can, if you summon 2 or 3 of these on the same turn, he's activating his effect. Next up, we got a Guitartle. I love this card. This card's so freaking cute. And the effect is just, it just blows my mind. It's a skill 6, which is okay. It's not the best scale, but where it's literally, if this is activated, you activate another Performapal on the other scale, draw a card. Free card, free monster. Amazing effect. That's just once per turn though. You can't play like another turtle on top and get the effect again. It's like a hard once per turn. But if this guy stays up on your scales, next turn if you play another Performapal where that pendulum scale used to be, you just draw another card. So it's a really good, it's essentially just like a 37 card deck. You're just running this because it's a scale, gets you a card. It's good. Next up you got Performapal Odd Eyes Valet. This card is okay. And now if you don't have 3 copies, don't worry. You may only need 1. I say may because it has a really decent effect where it's when it's normal or special summoned, you can send up Performapal or Odd Eyes from your deck to the graveyard. Essentially a donkey. He's usually just there so you can just have another extender. You normal summon him, send Butler, the dude with the amazing mustache, and then Butler just brings himself out. So it's a good card to have. I think you need 3 copies if you want to play this deck at like max power. But if you don't even have the card, you don't need to worry because it just makes the deck a little more consistent. That's all it does. Next up, we got probably the best card in the entire deck. I'm not gonna lie. Dude, this lizard is ballin'. Look at him. He is cool and his effect's amazing. If he's on your scale and you have another Performapal on the other scale, destroy this card, draw a card. Now, why would that be good? He goes to the extra deck when he's destroyed, which means it's a free monster you can pendulum summon. He gets you a free card, which can be anything. Also, he's a level 3, he has decent stats, and he has an amazing on-field effect. If he's on the field and any of your monsters is attacked or destroyed by card effect, you just draw a bunch of cards. Equal to how many Performapal monsters you control, but I've drawn 3 cards off this dude before. Because nobody read his effect. It's just a super pot of greed. Next up, we got Ladyange. You should run 3. It's important. Also, if it's in the graveyard, it can just go back in your scale. This card just makes the deck like actually work. I'm not gonna lie. It gives you draw. It gives you consistency. It gives you stability of your scales because it comes back from the graveyard. Amazing card. Next up, Rescue Hamster. Nobody plays this card. Since this card's release, I don't think a single competitive deck has ever played this card. He has the effect where if he's on the scale, you can add 2 Pendulum monsters from your extra deck to your hand, or you can just normal summon him straight up and then special summon 2 monsters from your deck. As long as you have 1 in your extra deck, you can special summon 2 from your deck. Easiest cards to special summon using this guy, Lizardraw. It's meant to be. Next up, Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer, ultra rare. You can get it from the Magicians of Pendulum structure deck, I believe it's what it's called. I think this card's really, really good simply because of its pendulum effect, which nobody uses, which is a weird thing because some of these good cards are good for different reasons. If you pendulum summon a Performapal monster, it gains 1000 attack. When you play this deck, you can pendulum summon 5 monsters. Easy. They're all going to gain 1000 attack. They're going to be big. You can just go for OTKs whenever you want. I don't really want to talk about Joker. It's probably the best pendulum monster in the entire game. Normal summon it, add a pendulum monster. It's as simple as that. The skill effect is garbage, but it doesn't really like hurt you too much because you're only pendulum summoning Performapal monsters anyway, so the pendulum effect doesn't hurt. Next up, we got Abyss Actor Curtain Raiser. Only 1 copy. The reason people run this is because when it's on your pendulum scale and you control no monsters, you can just special summon it. It allows you to go into Electromite very easy. The reason we're only running 1 is because Abyss Actor Curtain Raiser once per duel. Yeah, you can only use it once. So yeah, people run 3 because, oh, increased consistency. But what if you draw 2? Now one of them's dead, not really worth it. Just run 1. Your hands are going to be less bricky. Next up, we got 1 Performapal Celestial Magician. I only own 1. If I own 3, I think this deck would absolutely love 3, 100%. Cards to take out, I'm not sure, but this deck does need 3 of this. I only own 1. Essentially, during the end phase, you can add any pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. Next up, we got Performapal Gentrude. I love this card. I already talked about it a little bit, but this card is combined with Ladyange. They are just like the ultimate unstoppable duo, and the deck wouldn't work without this card. You need this card at 3. It's just the best monster. When you have it in your hand, you're like, this is going to be a good game. I'm going to win. Like, it just feels good. Next up, you got Performapal Dag Daggerman. Now, when I originally saw this card, I was like, this card sucks. I'm not running it. No. This is the 1 card you absolutely do need in your deck. Like, absolutely. It's a skill 2, which the deck doesn't really have too many of. I mean, it does have a lot of them, but like, this is a really consistent skill 2 you can get to. Very easy. It's a good search. It grabs a monster, a Performapal monster from your graveyard, adds it back to your hand. Very powerful effect. It has an interesting on-field effect. It's like you can send 1 monster from your hand, draw a card. It's like, I guess it's good. I don't really use it that much, but it's not a bad effect. It's just, I just don't use it that much. I think the pendulum effect where you can add 1 from your graveyard is amazing. That effect is just so good. That is so, it's like Oath Dragon, but you can add from the graveyard instead of the extra deck. And next up, we got Odd Eyes Butler. You need at least 1 copy. This card, when it's sent to the graveyard, destroy a Performapal or Odd Eyes card, special summon this guy. It allows you to get bodies on your board without even needing a pendulum summon, which means you can go into Electromite, you can go into a Beyond the Pendulum, or even a Link 3, really easy. And I go into Link 3s all the time before I even pendulum summon once. This guy also has another effect, like if he's destroyed in the monster zone, you can place him in your scale. You can do a little bit tricky stuff with him, but mainly you just summon him as another body to go into your links. And finally, we got Astrograph Sorcerer, because when this card is combined with Electromite, the Link 2 monster, it's just unstoppable. Electromite essentially lets you pop a card and add Astrograph, and an Astrograph is like, okay, whatever card you popped, destroyed, add it 1 copy from your deck to your hand. Also, you get a special summon this monster for free, and you get a +1 draw from Electromite. It's just too good. It's too good. I would never take that combo out. Unless it gets banned, you should leave it in. Astrograph and Electromite are just the best combo in Pendulums entirely. Next up, we got 1 Foolish Burial. Your targets for Foolish Burial are, there are actually quite a few actually. So because Daggerman can add a card from the graveyard to your hand, essentially Foolish Burial just becomes a search. Yeah. Also, you can just send Butler. Butler can pop a card. You can send Ladyange. Ladyange can just become a scale. I think Foolish Burial is very, very good. That's why we kind of run like 6 monsters in our main deck that just send cards from the deck to the graveyard. And 3 extra pendulums. At best, this is 3 extra summons. At worst, it's 2. That's about it. Extra pendulum is just worth. It's good. It's a good card. You don't need to run 3. If anything, you can run 1, and you can I don't know, replace the other 2 cards with Performapal Celestial Magician, or maybe you can take out Curtain Raiser and you can put in extra pendulum. Customize the deck however you want. I'm just making this video just to tell you what I've learned playing with this deck and what I think is good. First card in our extra deck is going to be Supreme King Starving Venom Dragon. This card is insane. If your opponent decides to like Book of Moon your monster, flip it face down, you're not going to be able to link. I'm sorry, you can't link with face down monsters. But you can Contact Fuse, which means you can bring out this dude and you can still go for plays. So that's why we run 1 copy. It was hit on the ban list. I saw it. It sucks, but you only need 1 copy. As long as it's not banned, you're chilling. Gravity Controller is mainly there, so we have another option. It's a Link 1, which is actually very easy to make in this deck because whenever you Pendulum Summon, the monster goes to the extra monster zone, which means that this guy is live. Next up, we got Electromite. If you're new, this is the best card for Pendulums. 100% you should absolutely craft this card. It is amazing. Sends any of your Pendulums from your deck into your extra deck. Now that's like, why is that good? Well, you can Pendulum Summon whatever you put in your extra deck. You can also use this guy's effect, which is just added to your hand. Also, did I mention if any of your skills leave the field, even if they're not destroyed, just draw a card. You know what card really easy moves stuff from the field? Gentrude. When Gentrude's in your extra deck, discard a card, return a card on your scales to the hand, and then add this guy to the hand. Electromite is amazing. Beyond the Pendulum, I make it a lot. That's why there's 2 copies, because it is the second best to link to for Pendulums. When it's summoned, you can add any Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand for 1,200 life points, but then you can't activate monster effects unless you Pendulum Summon. If 2 monsters are Pendulum summoned that are different levels, which is really easy in this deck. Trust me, this deck has 3s, 5s, and 4s. It's really easy. Just destroy 2 cards on the field. I use this effect to destroy more than I use the search effect, I'm going to be honest, just because it's just so good. It's removal, it's built in. I don't have to go out of my ways to do it. It just happens naturally. It's just amazing. 1 unicorn as removal. I'm going to be quite honest, I never made unicorn once in like the 20 plus games I played with this deck. Even though in theory, unicorn is good to have because it gets rid of 1 card on the field. Beyond the Pendulum does essentially the same exact thing, except it destroys 2. So I never really need to use unicorn. Next up, we got Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. This is only here because it's like a big boss Link 3. If I can make Link 3s, which is extremely easy, and I can actually do the class where it's level 7 or higher monster, this guy can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Really powerful. Also, whenever he destroys something, he gets like a bunch of effects. My favorite one, banish 1 card on the field, removal. So that's why we run him, because he's another form of non-targeting removal. Next up, we got probably the 3rd best monster in the extra deck, which is weird saying because this is Scareclaw Tryhard. This is not a normal card to have in an extra deck, but the thing is, it's generic, which means you can make it in any deck. Also, have you read its effect? All monsters are changed to defense. That's kind of good, right? Switch it to attack? Nope, defense. Can't switch it. Also, unaffected by defense position monsters, which means if your opponent tries to activate, I don't know, Sword Soul something that like banishes your dude. Nuh-uh. If your Sword Soul dude's in defense, he ain't messing with mine. That's how good this guy is. This guy single-handedly beats Sword Souls. It just does it. This card just, you win from 1 card. It's that amazing. It's that consistent. It's that easy to make. It's just, it's good. It's 3 arrows point down. It's just, it's probably going to get banned. I'm not going to lie. It's too good. It's too good. It's too good for this deck. It just makes this deck go over the edge. It's just too powerful. Next up, we got Borload. This card was always good. Even when it came out, people were running, what, 2, 3 copies? Essentially, this card is when you attack, you can steal your opponent's monster, put it into one of the arrows that it points to. It's good. It's always been good. People stopped playing it because, I mean, more cards came out, but this card will always be good until it's banned or errated, just because you can steal your opponent's monster. It doesn't matter what attack they have. You just steal it. I've done it so many times. It's a really good out. You can even link off with their monster after you've stolen it. Next up, we got Boral Sword Dragon. Yeah, I don't really like him. I think I made him once and it was the wrong decision to make him, but I put him there as an option just because he is a powerful monster. He can attack twice. He can switch something to defense, so it can be kind of like a semi-floodgate. Also, he has the effect where if he attacks something, he can like steal its attack, half its attack, and he gains it. That effect's huge. Really massive effect. Boral Guard Dragon. I had it in my collection. I threw it in. It is interesting. It has an effect where you can send a card in your spell and trap zone to the graveyard, and then special summon a monster that was destroyed this turn. It also has a quick effect where you can just make a monster face up defense. Also, no effects can be activated. And maybe it's good against like flip decks, which aren't really popular right now. It's just there as an option, but mainly I put it there just to fill a slot. Feel free to take it out. Next up, Appaloosa. Arrows are perfect. Effect is amazing. Negate monster effects. It's usually like 2,400 attack or 3,200. It's very decent in the attack range. I do highly recommend you running this. Next up, Access Code Talker. I don't think I made Access Code Talker that much. I probably made him like 1 or 2 games out of the 20. Yeah, he's cool, but like, I mean, there's better cards. I hate to say it, there's better cards. Like, hear me out, hear me out. First part of the effect. Can't be destroyed by battle. Okay. Can't be destroyed by card effect. Oh, okay. Neither player can target this with monster effects? Wait, what? How do you get rid of it, right? Spell or trap or non-targeting removal. That is the only way. It is hard. You summon this guy, your opponent's gonna kind of go, what do I do? You know? Unless I got a kaiju, which has happened to me a couple times. And the final card in the extra deck is Underworld, Goddess of the Closed World. You can use your opponent's monster as material. So, aka this card is removal for one of your opponent's monsters. It's good. It's very, very good to have that in your extra deck. Like as an option, whenever you want, oh, I can just remove your monster. Like, that's just so good. Yeah, it has an on-field effect where it's like, unaffected by opponent's card effects unless they target it. It's okay. It's an okay effect. It's good to have there. And then I think the more secret, better effect is when your opponent activates a card that would special summon a monster from the graveyard, negate it. So it does come up sometimes where the opponent's like, what's going on? Why can't I do this? And it's like, oh, Underworld, I see. Anyways, this was a little bit longer of a deck explanation just because I wanted to take my time and really talk about the cards, because Performapal Pendulums is really cute and I feel like it's not very much explored. So let's jump into some replays and I'll show you guys what I did. Okay, I moved my camera and opened my window because I noticed it was getting a bit dark. But yeah, let me show you. I was running Performapal Recasting because I built this deck, I believe like live on stream, or I was constructing it live on stream. And I was getting recommendations of cards and I thought this card would be kind of interesting to try out because essentially it's just shuffle your hand, draw like your hand again. It's not a bad effect at all. We normal summon Joker and we add Gentrude. This is one of my earlier replays, so I haven't really figured out the full combos, but I still want to show you what the deck can do, even if you don't really know what you're doing, like I didn't. We're going to set up our skills, but our skills are weird. You might notice, skill 8, skill 6, that's because we have Odd Eyes Butler in our graveyard, which is special summon destroy a card. So we're going to destroy Gentrude. Now when Gentrude's destroyed, we get to search our deck for any pendulum monster. We're going to search for Daggerman, and a couple things happen, but we're going to search for Daggerman, and we're going to pendulum summon. And we're going to link off 4 monsters into Appaloosa. Now, it's not that most impressive board, I'm not going to lie. It's very, very simple. It's just 4 monster negates can easily be outed by Dark Hole, and is he playing Pendulums? Okay, that's why I recorded this. He's playing Pendulums, and we're playing Performapal Pendulums. So this should be interesting in theory. He's going to attack over Appaloosa and set up his scales. He has Wisdom Eye, very, very good. I'm curious why he's doing this specifically, but then I realized, oh, he's just going to go into Electromite, he's going to pop some stuff, going to do basic Astrograph combo. It's kind of weird sitting on the other side of this, I'm not going to lie. But he's going to add Star Pendulum Graph, he's going to draw a card. His card that he drew, essentially, your opponent cannot target cards in your Pendulum Zone for card effects. So I can't really get rid of them with targeting, so I'm gonna have to figure something out. He's gonna go into Scareclaw Tryhard. This card is secret Pendulum tech. I'm not kidding. This card is perfect in the Pendulum deck. It's a floodgate. It's powerful. Like, it's switching into defense. He's gonna, what? Heavy Storm Duster. He destroyed both my scales. Pretty good of him. I'm gonna end up sending a Ladyange from my deck. We're gonna use Gentrude's effect to add him back from the extra deck to the hand. We're gonna set up one scale. Ladyange immediately goes on the other scale. We're gonna use his effect to add one card from our deck to our hand. And we are gonna Pendulum Summon, I think, just 2 monsters, right? Not too much, not too much. All our monsters go to defense. This guy has a weird effect. This guy is one of the tuner Pendulum Odd Eyes Synchron cards, but he works perfectly in your deck. This was when I was still testing with the Synchron engine. And essentially his effect is target a card in your scale and use it as a synchro material. So I'm gonna go for Synchro 6. Not a lot of people know about this card. This card is bonkers. If you use a Pendulum monster to make this card, you can take one of your opponent's monsters. One thing I didn't know was, yeah, his monster is unaffected, so I can't take it. But it also has the additional effect where if you use an effect monster, you can just negate a card on the field. So I ended up negating a Sky Iris, which means that this card doesn't do anything and it's just useless. I can hit his fields, and we're gonna go to an Electromite of our own. Electromite's gonna send Astrograph. We're gonna send Gentrude on their scale. We're gonna pop Gentrude because I still thought Gentrude activates the effect, but it's just once per turn. And Astrograph's get a special summon from our hand. We're gonna get a free draw. And we're kind of chilling. We're coming back and we barely had anything. Lizardraw. Lizardraw destroys himself, draws us another card. Link off into Borreload just because I want to take his monster. And now our opponent is hit by the floodgate. Now, if anything our opponent summons, it's switch to defense. And also this guy's unaffected. Yeah, we lose him at the end of our opponent's turn. It doesn't matter. Kaijus are a Borreload. I don't care. You're gonna Pendulum Summon too? I don't care, bro. I have your Tryhard. You're not gonna kill me this turn. Trust. He's gonna end his turn. I lose his Tryhard. Okay, maybe you might get me now. Psych. Draw for opening hand. Joker. He's gonna activate Time Pendulum Graph. Time Pendulum Graph is not gonna destroy anything. He's allowing me to set my scales, which is kind of confusing. I'm going to Link Summon Beyond the Pendulum, which allows me to search my deck for any Pendulum monster. Now I'm gonna Link Summon. I don't know why he didn't destroy my scales. Even if he did, I could just replace them. But we're gonna Pendulum Summon 5 monsters. Plus 2 monsters at different levels, so I can destroy 2 cards. And Sorcerer's gonna destroy both my scales. This was still when I was testing. I don't think you should be destroying your scales with Sorcerer. I'm gonna be quite honest. If anything, you destroy 1 scale and you destroy, I don't know, 1 monster, because if this guy's destroyed as a monster, you place it in your scale. So you kind of get your skills back. He is gonna activate Purple Poison, destroy one of my Odd Eye Synchrons. And I'm a little sad because I kind of wanted to keep that. I had some synchro plays in my mind, but no, it's gonna not really work out. We're gonna go into Clearwing Synchron. This deck can easily make Synchro 5, 6, and 7s. The best 6 is definitely the Metaphys Horse. This card is absolutely amazing. If you play the Odd Eye Synchron engine, you should run this card. It's good. It's worth the craft, 100%. But as for Synchro 7, I'm not too sure. So I'm just running Clearwing for now. Now we got Start Pendulum Graph. It's going to add a card from his deck to his hand. He's going to use Oath to add another card from his extra deck to his hand. And I'm assuming he's just going to Pendulum, right? Pendulum 3. And then Harmonizing is going to bring out another card. Go into Tryhard again. I mean, he really... I don't know why he did that. I'm going to be quite honest. I don't know why I felt like he had more plays, but that's what he chose to do. I used Ladyange effect on accident. I didn't mean to do that. Essentially, it's discard a card. Your opponent's monster gets 1000 less attack. Normal Summon Joker, get the effect. Another Odd Eye Synchron. I don't have any more tuners in my extra deck, so it doesn't matter. Build our own Tryhard. Pendulum Summon 5. Notice, by the way, we Pendulum Summoned 5, I think 2 turns in a row. And we only had like 1 or 2 cards in our hand. It is good. This deck is very, very easy to Pendulum Summon. We're going to use his own monster, make Underworld Goddess, attack his monsters. Hey, he's going to get a search. I don't really mind too much. And just end the turn, pass to him. Let's see what he can do. He's going to use Oath, get another one of his resources. Very, very good. He's going to Pendulum Summon 3 monsters, going to Access Code Talker. Woo, okay. Access Code is going to pop how many? 1? Okay. Oh, it didn't work. Okay. Okay, Access Code's going to pop the other one. And he's just going to attack over for 100 damage. And he's going to search a Joker at the end phase. Now, Celestial Mage, we run that in our deck too. If we had multiple, we would have multiple cards, but we don't. Gentrude's going to try to activate the effect to search my deck for something. I forgot to do it last turn. And he's going to bring out Soul of the Supreme King. Now, I didn't think Soul of the Supreme King was a good card. Essentially, it's you get a special summon, a 4,000 fusion for free. Yeah, I didn't think it was a good card. Mainly because you lose it during the end phase. It goes back to the extra deck during the next turn. But the reason this card is so good is because if I activate any spell, he can banish his fusion and special summon a bunch of monsters for free. An XYZ dragon, a Synchro dragon, a Fusion dragon for free. So that's really good, and I don't want him to do that. So I can't activate any skills, any spells, and I have to get rid of his board. So let's see what I do. Gentrude, discard a Butler, add Gentrude to hand. Normal summon Gentrude, go into Beyond the Pendulum. Beyond the Pendulum's effect, it's going to add us something. And now we are kind of chilling. We're going to Pendulum summon 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to pop both his cards with Beyond the Pendulum, removal, very good to have. Butler is going to special summon himself out, popping one of our skills. We're going to go and access Kotaka of our own. Let me show you one of the builds that I did recently. I ended up turning on my light so you guys can see a little better. It's getting a little dark. In our opening hand, Astrograph. Ooh, I don't like to see him there. Gentrude's okay, and we got Guitartle. So what I'm hoping for right now is that Guitartle gets us something. And he doesn't. If Odd-Eye's Valet got Ash Blossom or Effect Filler or Infinite Permed or negated in any form or way, then I would have been in a bad spot. But it wasn't, so we're chilling. We're gonna send Butler for free. Butler's gonna pop our Gentrude, which Gentrude's gonna replace himself on the scale. We also get Astrograph's effect to search another Gentrude from our deck. And we're gonna go into a Link 3. We didn't Pendulum. This was just normal special summons. We're gonna go for a Pendulum now. 1, 2, 3, 4. I wish we could have Pendulum summoned to level 1, but we can't. We're gonna go into Electromite in the middle column zone. And then we're gonna use Electromite's effect to pop a Guitartle, add Astrograph back from our extra deck to our hand. Electromite lets us draw 1. Astrograph is not a once per turn, so we're gonna go through the whole thing again. Astrograph special summon, add a card, another Guitartle, get a free body, go into a Link 5, and end our turn. So this is a very, very normal board. I end on this, it's not rare. This board is very easy to go into. You end on a card that switches everything to defense against a fusion deck. He's not gonna be able to do much. And it's unaffected by defense physical monsters. You also have a card that can be targeted, destroyed by card effects, or like by battle. It's just kind of insane. Everything he normal summons or everything he does is just gonna go to defense. He's gonna use a polymerization, chain a branded. I'm gonna speed it up. I think he brings out like 5 fusions or 4 fusions. I don't really quite remember, but he brings out a lot of things. Guardian Chimera, what is it? Despia Quartz. So let's see what he destroys with his Chimera. I don't think Chimera targets either. So he's gonna target Borderland. Okay, it didn't do anything because Borderland can't be destroyed by card effect. So he's gonna fusion Super Poly using my Borderland Dragon. It's non-targeting, so he did get rid of it. But look at this. He can't do anything. He can't attack me. So he's gonna use his monster. He's gonna take my Borderland Dragon for himself. Yeah, he's just gonna take it. So that's kind of scary. And then he gets to attack over a monster for free. So boom. But we don't die. And I want to pause. 1 card in scale, 3 cards in hand. We're gonna only have 4 cards in hand when we draw. Can we get out of this against Despia? Against the best deck in the game? Yeah, we can get out of this. Trust me. We're gonna activate Gentrude. We're gonna discard a card, a Guitartle. We're gonna add back Daggerman back to our hand. That's very, very good because we're gonna activate Guitartle and activate Daggerman. Free draw off Guitartle. So now we're 4 cards in hand. Extra Pendulum, 3 cards because we can only activate 1 anyways. We're gonna Pendulum summon 3 monsters. Pendulum Sorcerer is gonna pop 1 card in her scale. He's gonna target our Link and just banish it. I'm like, I don't really care. Do that. Go ahead. And we still haven't activated Daggerman, which can bring something back from the graveyard. We are going to Link off into a Link 2. Beyond the Pendulum lets us add a card. He's gonna activate that monster, which negates our monster effect, which is fine. I was kind of hoping to bait out one of his negates. He still has a change monsters attack to 0, so I'm Trying to bait out that one too. We're gonna add back from our graveyard Guitartle, activate Extra Pendulum. Now we can Pendulum summon 2 for free. Maybe I could have went into Link 3. I went into a Link 2. And we're gonna get these effects, but its effects negated, so it's not gonna matter. Now we're gonna link off into Ladyange. Not a bad monster. Odd-Eye Synchron can grab one of our scales. We can immediately go into a Synchron. And we're gonna go into Cyberverse Quantum Dragon. Now, this was when I was still messing around with the Synchro engine. This card has the effect where while you control Link monster, which we do, monsters your opponent control cannot target monsters you control for attacks, except this one. Also, they cannot target with card effects. So this guy's kind of can't be targeted for attacks or card effects as long as they control this. So this guy's an amazing threat. Amazing threat. Also, when this guy battles, you can just return an opponent's monster to the hand and he can attack twice. So he is a big threat on his own. Enter battle, Borreload, steal his monster, excuse me, steal my monster back. Oh yeah, also did I mention this guy can attack every monster once each? I think I might have forgot that part. Yeah, so we're just gonna attack with everything. And end turn, our opponent has 1 card, but this is Despia. He doesn't really need much, and he's gonna use, what is it, Despia Tragedy, banish from the graveyard, gonna reset the fusion spell. Use Fallen of Albaz, discard a card in his hand, fusion summon our... He really does not like that monster. He fusion summon our Borreload, he's gonna bring out Mirror Jade. And then he's gonna activate, what is this, Branded Fusion? So what I'm doing right here is he's activating the Mirror Jade monster, which lets him banish a monster on the field. This is non-targeting, so he can definitely banish our Borreload. So I'm just like, okay, if you're gonna do that, I'm gonna lower your monster's attack. I don't care. And Fusion, I have no idea what's gonna special summon, so I'm kind of curious. He banishes our Borreload, or excuse me, Borreload, not Borreload. And he's gonna Fusion summon for Albaz Lenti. I don't know why he made that. I don't know why. Anyways, he's gonna attack Quantum Dragon. And then bounces back to the extra deck, and then he just crashes. So yeah, I mean, he gets 1 card. What is that? A fusion. Okay. I'm curious if he's gonna actually be able to use this. Now look, 1 card. We only have 1 card essentially in our hand. Extra Pendulum does nothing. We drew Odd-Eye's Butler, scale 2. That's all we need. Activate Butler. Opponent. Wait. What? Yeah, our opponent left. But what I would have did was I would have normal summoned Joker, we would have added another card, we would have made Link 2, and then I would have Pendulum summoned so many monsters. Anyways, that's the deck. You can do different builds. You can do XYZ, Fusion, Synchro. I chose to focus more on the Synchro and Link in this video. But if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like. If you enjoyed this type of content, feel free to let me know. Give me any recommendations you might want to see. I might pick one of them because I like hearing from the audience and picking something that seems interesting that a lot of people might like to see. A huge apologies to everybody who saw me record this live. The quality was just not good enough. When I stream and record, the bitrate gets really bad and it starts to get blurry, and I didn't like it. So I thought I would just re-record it. But regardless, thank you so much for, like, you know, coming out and doing all that stuff. And yeah, maybe I'll catch you next time. Have a great day or night, and peace. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe. You can check out all the new content I'm going to be making. But besides that, hope you have a great day. See ya.